you seem to say, look, my success of my companies is different, except for construction and houses.
The United States has been improving. I mean, it went through, we talked about it, was economic Pearl Harbor.
Right.
I mean, I use that term. And we had a shock to our system that was really colossal. I mean, and if a few people hadn't acted right, even more so. But we have been coming back steadily. The mood has gone up and down more like this as we've gone, but everything I see in business is we've been coming back steadily since the summer of 2009, and that continuing, you know, right up through last month. Now, can something happen that will interrupt that? Perhaps, but I haven't seen it. Europe is a different story.
Okay, but put Europe in the context of this, though. I mean, how could the sovereign debt crisis in Europe affect the rest of us?
Well, the problem is I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen over there. I know 17 countries that joined the European Monetary Union gave up the right to print their own money. That was a huge, huge decision. I hope the United States never does it. I mean, it changes the game.
To be control of your own finances, in fact.
Yeah, and they linked themselves. They gave each other their credit cards and said, you know, let's all go out. And some behave better than others, or worse than others.
Should they dismantle the Eurozone?
I don't know how. I mean, it's very complicated. I mean, you've got to decide one of two things. You've either got to decide that these members are actually going to get their act together, the ones that have troubles, in a very major way, because they need lots of money. I mean, they have to refund their old obligations all the time. So nobody has to lend money to country A, B, or C. I mean, in the end, nobody has to lend money to them. The United States, if nobody lends money to the United States, we print it. But not over there. I mean, if Greece owed their money in drachma, they'd have a lot of inflation and, you know, devalue and all of that. But they wouldn't have a problem paying their bonds. They gave up that right. Now, either the weaker countries get their act together in some major way, and I think that's very, very difficult, or basically the very strong companies, and we're talking countries, we're talking Germany, have to say, I'm willing to take care of my brother-in-law that's been using my credit card.
Yeah. Well, that's what they've said so far.
Well, they sort of half said it. I mean, that's their problem. I mean, you know, if you're having a run at a bank and you got 10 people in front of it, no FDIC insurance, you know, that line's not going to stay at 10. You're either going to get rid of those 10 or you're going to have 100. And so far in Europe, they've sort of kept talking to the 10, you know, and a few more straggled up. And so they didn't get rid of the line. And when there's a run, the line only gets longer unless it gets taken care of very quickly.
But what are the consequences for the United States and for Asia? I don't
know the answer to that. I don't think they're necessarily extremely dire. There's got to be consequences, but Europe won't go away. I mean, we're selling a lot of goods in Europe. And our
it's a huge market.
Oh, it's a huge market, and they're not going to go away, and the plants aren't going to go away, and the farmland isn't going to go away. It just can be kind of an economic mess for a while.
You have said before that to me and to others that Berkshire is your canvas that you paint on. It's your masterpiece.
Well, I don't know about masterpiece, but it's my canvas.
So what is it that, if you look at it today, Berkshire, you find fault with?
Find fault with?
Yeah.
Well, I made plenty of mistakes along the way, so I've got a lot of brush strokes out there that if I just give me a little whatever it takes to remove that, I would do it. So I made plenty of mistakes, but I expect to make mistakks, and I'll keep making mistakes. So,
because unless you take chances, you won't make mistakes.
Oh, sure, and mistakes are part of the game. I mean, you're swinging at pitches, and you miss a few. But no, I don't want to sound. I feel good about Berkshire. I mean, the people I'm associated with, the businesses, we have we lay out our economic principles, and I laid them out many, many years ago, and we don't change them. I mean, we try to operate that way. Doesn't mean we're perfection. I mean, you get a company of 260,000 people. I'll guarantee you right now somebody's doing something I wish they weren't. I mean, you can't have a city of 260,000 people and have no jails. But overall, I feel there's a culture that I don't think any other really large public company has, and I think it's enduring because it's so inculcated in the managers, the shareholders, the directors, everybody. So I feel good about Berkshire.
Would I be wrong to suggest the thing you worry most about is whether after you are gone that culture remains as it is, that you have in a sense made Berkshire strong enough to exist without you?
Yeah, I don't worry about that. I worried about it over the years, which is why I did a bunch of things that I think ensure that future. But that's always the question. I mean, you know, you've seen all kinds of great companies topple for one reason.
You once said to me and to others, you have to make your company idiot-proof because at some point some idiot will run it.
Yeah, well, that may be even the case now. I mean,
but someone has said, I think, that the thing you worry most about is whether Berkshire will be intact 20 years after you're gone.
Well, I don't worry about it, but I care about it. Yeah, no, and since I care about it, I've put things in place which I think almost ensure that Berkshire will be a lot better 20 years after I'm gone than it is now.
Where is succession today?
Where's succession?
Yeah.
If I die tonight, tomorrow morning it won't take the board an hour to have announced
who the
my
new
success.
CEO is.
Absolutely. They know exactly who it is, and they agree.
But it may change 6 months from now.
It's unlikely to change 6 months from now, but it could. I mean, you know, that person could die.
Is there a list of people or one person?
There's several people, but there's one person they've all agreed on.
Takes over CEO.
Yeah. Yeah, and there should be. I mean, there's no reason to have the board of directors start thinking about who the CEO should be the day after the present CEO leaves. I mean, they've neglected their job if they do that.
Was the Sokol affair the thing that caused you most angst because it had to do with judgment of?
Well, it caused angst. Yeah, I don't know whether it's the most in my business life, but it was up there.
Yeah. When you think about whatever legacy there is, your legacy is Berkshire Hathaway beyond family and philanthropy.
Yeah. Well, I'll settle for those.
You quoted Christopher Wren, Sir
Yeah.
Christopher Wren, who I think created St. Paul's Cathedral.
That's right. He's buried there too.
And if you go there, the epitaph he has written for himself is.
I'll paraphrase it maybe a little, but if you seek my monument, look about you. And I say that's the way we should think about this country. I mean, this country is a monument to what was done a few hundred years ago and the people that have followed. I mean, it's incredible. Just think if you, back in 1790, you say, I want to create a monument to this new country I'm giving you. And you'd envisioned the country of 2011. I don't think anybody would have dreamt big enough. You know, I mean, this is something to, and so I just, you know, when I fly across the country or that thought occurs to me that if you really seek this country's monument, if you seek our founding fathers' monument, just look around you.
And you worry today that there's some threat to that. Not because the system is not right, not because the system is not strong enough, but you worry that there are things happening that will make it less great if they are not addressed.
I think we're being tested, Charlie, yes. But we were tested in the Civil War. We were tested, you know, in the Depression. We were tested, you know, December 7th of '41. We were tested on September 11th of 2009. I mean, we will get tests, and this is one of them. We'll surmount them, but I would just as soon get on with the job of surmounting them now.